fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty Hi-Yo Silver, the Lone Ranger.
Let's get him.
Reach, Reverend. Keep him hard.
If you know I'm a reverend, you must also know I don't carry a gun.
Yeah, we know that. But we're taking no chances.
I don't quite understand what you expect to gain by this holdup. Most preachers are very poor, and I'm one of the poorest.
But maybe today you're not so poor as usual.
What do you mean?
And you must have collected quite a bit of money for that church you plan to build in Gold City.
Oh, not a lot of money. $742.30 to be exact.
Supposing you just hand it over, quiet-like.
I'm sorry, but that's not my money to give you.
Now climb out of that buggy.
I don't see why you're so dead set against having a church in Gold City. It's the most sinful town in the territory.
The town suits us just as it is.
Hand it over, Reverend.
You're mighty brave with that gun in your hand. You use it against women and children, too?
Put up your dukes.
If I win, I get to keep the money?
I'm waiting, Reverend.
So am I.
Oh, I get it. You don't want to strike the first blow, huh? All right. I'll do it for you. Fancy Dan here.
You had enough? You said if I knocked you down once.
Why, you low-down, mealy-mouthed Bible stuff.
We've played enough games, Reverend. Hand over that money.
All right. Take it. But I warn you, I'm not going to rest until I get it back. That money belongs to the Lord, and his wrath is mighty. Better travel far, gentlemen. The arm of the Lord is long.
Hallelujah, Reverend. Don't ever forget the 8th commandment. Thou shalt not steal.
Don't you forget it.
Let's go.
I like his spirit. He sounds like a man who will fight evil no matter how great the odds. I wonder which direction he headed.
Do you want to find him?
Yes, I'd like a little talk with him.
He will cover plenty territory. It may be hard to track down.
He's bound to come back to Gold City sooner or later.
Maybe him not find what him look for.
Let's hope that he doesn't, at least not yet.
What we do?
We'll head for Gold City just as soon as we've eaten, Tonto. We look for Reverend Roberts there?
Reach. Keep your hands away from your guns. If you're looking for Reverend Roberts, you don't need to look any further. You found him.
Well, hello, Reverend. Why the gun?
Because guns are all you outlaws seem to understand. Now, there won't be any trouble if you'll just toss me the church money you stole from me yesterday.
We not steal money from you.
I can't prove it was you. Both your faces were too well covered by masks. But if that big white horse I saw back there is not the same one I saw yesterday, it's a twin brother.
I assure you it's not the same one, Reverend.
I'm sorry, but your word's not good enough for me, mister. You may be wearing a different mask, but your bill's just about the same as the fellow who robbed me. Now, where's the money?
With the men who stole it from you, wherever they are.
You won't cooperate, huh? All right, I'll take you back to town and turn you over to the sheriff.
And if we refuse to go?
I have a gun on you.
But would you use it?
What makes you think I wouldn't?
I've always heard that the Reverend Randy Roberts does his persuading with words, not bullets.
You seem to know a good deal about me.
Enough to be convinced that you wouldn't shoot 2 innocent men.
You be careful, Kimasami.
If the Reverend really means to use that gun, all he has to do is shoot once in the ground in front of me and I'll stop.
You're quite right, mister. I wouldn't use it. It isn't even loaded.
I would have been disappointed in you, Randy, if it were.
You're a funny kind of outlaw.
I've already told you, Tonto and I are not outlaws.
Prove it.
That gun really is loaded. You have the drop on me if you want to use it.
All right, I believe you. You're no outlaws.
Even with my mask?
I don't judge men by what's on their faces. I judge them by what's in their hearts. And I see nothing bad in yours. This is a mighty handsome weapon you carry, friend.
I wouldn't have handed it over to you so willingly if I didn't know that most preachers were notoriously poor shots.
Is that a fact?
Where you learn to shoot like that?
Ever hear of Rifle Roberts?
The gunman who was killed years ago in a Denver holdup.
With my father. I reckon I learned to shoot from him.
Your father outlaw?
I'm afraid so, Tonto. When I was a boy, my mother and I saw enough shooting and killing to last us for the rest of our lives. For years, I watched the suffering that my father and men like him caused innocent people. I guess it was what made me turn to religion. Somehow, I wanted to make amends for his crimes.
You couldn't have picked a better way, Randy.
I'd like to think so, but right now I'm getting nowhere fast. I'm up against men worse than my father, and even with the Lord's help, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to beat them all alone.
You're not alone any longer, Randy. Tonto and I are on your side.
Say, thanks. I sure need you. Look, why don't we pick this stuff up and get on back to my place? We can talk better there. You'll excuse me if I feed Esmeralda first. She gets very impatient if she isn't fed on time.
Bird make funny noises. You have it long?
Ever since I can remember. She's the only thing my father ever left me that I cared to keep.
Her no words?
Well, just a few that my father taught her. I don't encourage her to use them anymore. They sound rather strange in a preacher's home.
Me like to hear Bird talk.
All right, Tonto. Dad taught her to only answer to certain nonsense syllables. Esmeralda. Abracadabra.
Oh, that's plenty good.
Alakazam.
Which I said.
Bird plenty smart. Her say more?
No, I'm afraid that's her entire vocabulary, Tonto. I've been trying for years to teach her to say something more suitable, like, praise the Lord. But she refuses to learn. I reckon she's just an outlaw at heart.
It's too bad she isn't smart enough to give us the names of those two crooks who held you up yesterday.
Well, I know one man who could give us their names. I'm sure of that.
Frank Ferris.
How did you know?
Tonto did some investigating in town. He also brought me a copy of Ferris's newspaper.
Well, then there's no need my telling you why I'm so sure he's behind all my trouble.
Supposing Ferris were smoked out into the open as the man who's trying to prevent organized religion in Gold City, wouldn't that destroy a great deal of his power?
Mister, it'd put every decent citizen in this town behind me. But how are we going to expose him?
There may be a way. The one thing he seems to fear most, Randy, is that you'll get your church built. Apparently, he'll stop at nothing to prevent it.
He certainly stopped at nothing so far.
If he thought that you had the money to build your church, he'd have to go into action again, wouldn't he?
Yes, but where am I going to get the money?
You're not going to get it. We'll merely let him think you have. Tonto?
Huh?
Do you think you could pose as the Indian servant of the fabulously rich Abner Doolittle?
Abner Doolittle? Who him?
Merely a figment of our imagination. But he also may be the man who finally gets Randy's church built.
Hey, I think Ferris took the bait. Look.
You're right. Look like someone coming toward house.
I see them now. There's two of them.
They're the same two who robbed me yesterday. They're wearing the same masks.
Now, you understand what to do, Randy.
Now, we'll let them take Tonto on me by surprise. We'll put up no resistance. In case of trouble, I don't want Esmeralda to get hurt. Strangers usually make her nervous.
Stick 'em up.
Reach fast.
Get over by that stove.
You gentlemen certainly are persistent. You stole all the money I had yesterday. What do you expect to steal today?
Sit in those chairs. Tie 'em up. You're gonna need an awful lot of help from the Lord to get out of this mess, Reverend.
Sometimes help comes from places where you least expect it.
Yeah? Where?
Right behind you. Don't try, you'll get the same medicine.
You recognize them, Randy?
Of course. It's Wolf Cady and Jed Glisson. They work for Ferris.
The Lone Ranger.
The Lone Ranger?
That's right, Reverend.
You mean you'd kill us all in cold blood?
I intend to do just that.
I think you'll find it says a good deal more about forgiving thy enemies.
If a man has faith, sometimes all he needs is a magic word to summon help.
What? I don't know any magic words. Just prayers.
I think you do, Reverend. Why not try something simple like Alakazam?
Stick 'em up.
There was no human voice.
If you're so sure, why don't you turn around and look?
You were right, friend. The Lord does hear magic words. And I know another one. Abracadabra.
Reach, I said. Stick 'em up. Reach, I said.
Everyone all right? Couldn't be better. Well, Esmeralda, we've been together for a long time, but I never thought I'd see the day when you'd come to my rescue.
Praise the Lord.
Hey, did you hear that? She finally got religion. Go on, Esmeralda. Praise the Lord. I feel a lot braver preaching a sermon than I do publishing a paper. How'd I get stuck with this job anyway?
Freedom of the press, Randy, is just as important as freedom of religion. That's why I felt we should get out one honest edition of the paper before it closes down.
You write editorial, then it be all ready.
Yeah, but what'll I say?
Say whatever's in your heart, Randy. And save a copy for Tonto and me. We have to go now, but we'll be back again someday. Goodbye.
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 Bye. Citizens of Gold City. The godless men tried to destroy us. But the Lord did not desert us in our hour of need. He sent us a man whose name has always struck terror in the hearts of outlaws. A man whose valorous deeds are legion, whose courage is unsurpassed. We shall never forget the name of that man. He's the Lone Ranger.
Bill